Good afternoon or evening. I never know when these have happened. Like, did we begin yet? The numbers normally take a little bit of time to catch up. Hopefully we are doing well this evening. Just gonna get my stuff organized. I'm happy to answer any questions that people have. I did a tiny little live this morning. Hey, we've got at least one person in. Daryl, how are you doing? Nearly evening for me. Are you, where are you in the world? Are you in America? Hey, we've got a few more people in now. Lovely. Well, we can get started quite soon. I am here to answer. Hey, oh, we got an Australian. Hey, buddy, how are you doing? It's nice that you guys can catch streams. We've been doing some morning ones last week, and I noticed Todd popping up a couple of times in them. Not sure which part of Australia he's in. Hey, Darren, enjoying your phone walk? Hello. All right, we are prepared enough to begin, basically. So I'm here to show you whatever it is you'd like to see. I'm going to demonstrate some of the paints being used. We have had a lot of, hey Nils, we've had a lot of questions which are basically like, how does the paint behave when you do X or Y? You know, glazing, airbrushing, dry brushing. Now, sadly, my airbrush replacement hose, I've not been able to collect yet. It's in my building, but I can't get at it. So my airbrush is running pretty regularly. It might be a little bit annoying to hear, but I'll hopefully be able to show a little bit of airbrushing as well. You guys can let me know if the sound is too much. Maybe it'll be fine. But yeah, if anyone has any questions about the Kickstarter at all, just fire away. You want to know about the paints, any questions are absolutely fine. Nothing is a difficult subject. There's nothing that you know, don't try and be insulting, but you can say whatever you like pretty much. Get the airbrush cleaned, and we should be good to go shortly. Let's see how regularly it's running. This is what happens when you put your chair leg on your hose. So, yeah, my pressure's definitely not quite ideal, but I'll just show you some normal non-airbrushing first, and then we can do a little bit of airbrushing afterwards. Okay, so I'm going to take this off. This is one of the options that we have in the Kickstarter, and I'll open it up first. I got a little cubby to put some brushes in there. The two of these would hold the entire set. I have, however, the block, and that's going to be my preferred way. Obviously, this is far easier to transport, weighs a bit less as well. Hello in Wisconsin. All right. Okay, so I'm here for your guys' entertainment or, you know, usefulness or question answering. So you let me know. Hey, McHez. He's McHez. Everyone's got difficult names today. Hey, KM. Thank you about the sound. So you can let me know what your questions are. I've got some props. I've got a great Unclean one. I've got some panels as well. Some Eldar bits. So, you know, if needed, I can show you on these. They, yes, yeah, they'll be in the Pledge Manager. So we just wanted, this has been a very common question. Thank you for asking. I'll note this down. I'll make a new one. Hey, Wyvern. Wyvern. Okay. So for those of you that are new to Kickstarter, when the Kickstarter ends, there'll be a little delay. And after that delay is over, we open up what's called the Pledge Manager, and that's where you allocate your funds. Any of these accessories you'll be able to add at that point. Our naming is really practical. We've got like cool browns, warm browns, you can see here. So we've done it by color family. And while we haven't got triads, I understand why people find triads useful, but there's something more useful than triads, which is a website that has all the information you need and kind of backs it up in a more thorough sense. So like a triad isn't going to tell you that these two look good together, but minicolor.com will. So we'll have suggested pairings, suggested highlighting sequences, and some of the information on there may well surprise you, but it'll come outside of a triad. You know, this is a great highlight for that, but it's not because they're in a triad, it's just because it is. So we'll give you that information, which I believe, personally, as a teacher, and Henry and Andy as teachers also, we believe is much more useful. I can give you a comparison or two. What do you mean? You want me to hold them side by side, or you want me to tell you which of our colors have a close Games Workshop one, and then give you opinions about it? You let me know what you need. I'm dusting my great Unclean one, so keep the questions coming. They are excellent already. I'll do my best to clarify absolutely anything you find useful. This guy is dusty. I thought I dusted him already, but apparently not. He's been sat neglected for too long. Which markers? All right, so I'll show you a couple of things that may give rise to some questions. Now, we have, he's literally Unclean. Very good, KM. We have gone out and said that we've aimed for fantastic colors. Luckily here I have a notebook, so I can literally show you the reds. Here we go. Here's the reds. Now we go from very deep and colorful through ones with heavy coverage, and then we've got some others that are like a purer color that have less coverage. What I thought I would do is I'm going to show you Cardinal, which has crazy coverage because it's got white in it. Okay, well, I can tell you what, I'll grab what I believe is a Mephiston equivalent. I might have to go digging to find actual Mephiston, but this is the one of ours that I would say is comparable and superior. So this is pomegranate. Now, like Mephiston, it contains a little bit of black, a little bit of white, not too much, and that really helps it with coverage. It's also got a tiny purple tint to it. So I'll just show you some. I'll show you some base coating capabilities. This guy's going to end up multicolored, whatever happens, isn't he? Or actually, I can do it on a flat area. So you can see here already. Hopefully, it's pretty strong. Let me know if you want me to zoom in more or anything like that. So super diluted. It's not going to do too much, but we are going over a deep blue. What I'm going to show you is something that I think people aren't educated about enough, and I'm going to use it way less diluted, like, you know, with a lot less water, and its behavior will still be absolutely fine. I think people are told that this is bad too readily because it's not bad. It's just paint that's thick. As long as you let it dry and it's not in like great big drifts, the downsides to it are relatively minimal. Okay, so already got pretty decent coverage here. Visage, absolutely. 100% it will come with recommended color palettes and it will have tutorials. That's a very good question. I'm going to, I'll make a note. It can go on the screen and we can make use of that. So see, even really thin, we've got pretty decent coverage on the first go. If I am brave and I use it like neat, I've still got water in my brush and it's a big brush, but you know, much closer to neat, we'll still have really good behavior because the paint's so smooth. And we've really prioritized the paint being smooth. This is how I'd base coat a cloak, especially, by the way. You can absolutely get away with it as long as you're not trying to drift thick paint. So here we go. Just like a more vibrant Mephiston, I would say. Not hugely different, but I would say it's superior. And this is over satin primer as well. I'm just going to leave that off to the side and let it dry. The videos will be free. I will be demoing personally at Adepticon, and we'll probably have Andy there too. And I'll probably be entering some golden demons, hopefully winning some. Right, what did I say that I was going to do? One second, let me, I'm just going to blast this with a hairdryer. Let me know how the volume is. And what we should find that is on the second coat, this red will do crazy amounts, which is very similar to Mephiston, because Mephiston's second coat tends to be that kind of magic transformative experience. I absolutely should have waited longer there after hair drying, by the way. You should never paint a hot model with a base coat, but sorry. Okay, there we go. So that is 2 coats doing what it needs to. Yeah, the website's resources are free. Andy and Henry have a Patreon, but they make weekly free videos on YouTube on Cult of Paint. And both of us are pretty well known for putting out that. Yeah, of course I can use some yellow. Absolutely. Right, let me use up my brush of red. So here's where I thinned it loads, you know, being really finicky, which I don't think you need to do. So I'll carry on. I'll do some more there. Where I've been more careful than I would say is necessary, but I get that some people want to dilute tons when they're base coating. You know, there's nothing bad about it. It's just, I don't think it's as bad to use thicker paint either, especially when the paint's smooth. So fantastic coverage. It sounds like you've been a very busy man, Marcelo. I thank you and I appreciate it. Okay, all right. So that is our Mephiston. Hopefully that was a useful comparison, because I imagine most of you will have used Mephiston because it's excellent. Whatever you like, why ahead. Let me take some notes. I appreciate I meant to be doing another example, but I'll take some notes because these are really good questions that you're asking. Airbrush, Drybrush, I know it's just a palette, but it kind of helps to distinguish it. So it just does everything, the paint, and I can show you all of that. I'm happy to back up my words. I'll also put glaze here because our glazing is amazing. And mixing, which is kind of the same thing as blending. So it does all of those excellently. Really, really good behavior. As soon as they send them to us, buddy. I think they are sorting out their online web store currently, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's made things a little bit more complicated getting hold of it. All right, get a final coat down. So red. I should show this over white as well, but I don't have a white to show you over. But because it's going more over itself now, you can really see that's like pretty punchy. Okay, I had yellow questions. Now, got to be frank with you here. You can't make a yellow that does good coverage. So what you have to do is combine it. So we've got 3. Our range is quite small. We've kept it narrow. Mustard is our coverage king. Then we've got marigold, which is really warm, leaning towards orange. It's just a lovely, lovely color. Then we've got canary, which is a little bit colder. So I'll pop these out. Keep the questions coming. You're doing an excellent job. Okay, so as you can see, mustard is, especially once I put the other colors out on the palette, it's not going to look that yellow in comparison. All right, it is dirty. That's going to get a lot of use for basing. If you're doing stuff like this, work like this, mustard is going to be exemplary. It's not all about being the brightest color ever, but some need to be. Skin tones will be a future release, but you can do skin tones with this set. And we'll just have one skin tone set. It will cover every skin type, color, creed, and we'll, 6 paints is all you need for that, and that'll be us sorted. And we'll work with good people on that as well. Not that we don't have good people, but we'll get some experts involved too, just to make sure. All right. Okay, let me put these on the white paper just to show you comparison. So here's mustard. Now mustard's made for coverage, but it's a bit dirty. Like I said, marigold. See how much brighter that is? It's going to have lower coverage though. My paint water's a bit red because pomegranate is so strong, so these are changing color a bit towards the end. Right, and there we go. And this is kind of the difference you'll get. Thank you, KM, much appreciated. Yes, it does, Wirehead, and it goes with so many other colors beautifully. All right, but let's put them down. They all airbrush fantastically as well. I can show you that in a second if needed. Right, so appreciate that I'm putting this by brush over a satin base coat. What I like to do, I'll hairdry this. What I like to do generally is I put down one thin one and it's just there to put something down that isn't a primer. I've used a satin primer to keep things smooth, and our paint's very smooth, so it wants to be laid over itself. First step's down. Hopefully that wasn't too bad. Sorry if it was. And our second coat should be very, very different. There we go. My model's too hot though. It's non-metallic mustards, yeah. That was already drying before I'd finished. So let me show you, let me find a white thing as well. Because this is really, if you're painting yellow, this is probably what's the relevant test. So if I mix the two, get a much warmer yellow, and then I can put it down over a surface that's a little bit lighter. This is what you're going for. And this is going to lead to beautiful colors as well. So we've taken mustard and we've mixed it with marigold. All right, and just because it's over a lighter base, we've nearly got one coat coverage instantly. Thank you, Connell. And thank you for giving me the support in there, KM. Appreciate your help. Yeah, 3 hours remaining. Not long to go now. Hairdryer's coming out again. Well, actually, I can do another layer on this one. There you go. So a lot of it's about the sequencing. But you can just add a little bit of our serious yellow that is more dull, but quite light to it. What we also have, you want to zoom in? Okay, thank you. Remind me to zoom out because I want people to be able to see my notebook and stuff. All right, we've also got stuff like this. Okay, so if you want your yellow to really bite, then you can simply add in. And instantly this looks a little bit more like Averlan now, because Averlan's got a load of white in it. But what we should gain is some pretty useful behavior. We're also getting towards like colors of naval uniforms, or not naval, like military. Let me know if the focus is okay, because lives off phones aren't fantastic for it. So here, if you are pushing for the coverage, you can just add. Yes, oh, I got dust. Got dust on the piece. Okay, so as far as base coats go, to put yellow over, anything will go over that. And metallics is for the future. Our colors are wonderful, and they're very, because we thought so long and hard about which colors we include, there's a lot of extremely useful ones in here that do well playing with each other, playing with each other colors. So it's quite easy to get exactly what you want out of it. Like this, this highlight color, which we've called lemon, that is going to be useful for highlighting almost all of the range, actually. Ice yellow's very well known for that type of thing. A lot of people find brilliant uses for it. All right, I'm going to get out a great unclean one, and I'm going to, let me see if I can find a big dry brush. Let's see if we can do some interesting stuff with some unexpected colors. Just need to get my paints out. Thank you. We've worked really hard on the richness. The pastels are insane. Let me so hopefully, I think let's bring the pastels into shot there. You can see them up here. The pastels are wonderful. There will be stickers. Yes, there absolutely will be. And we'll make sure that people know that they got something special and limited edition. It will look and feel limited edition, and it will be branded as limited edition. So you'll know that you got something that says thank you for being there in the beginning. Yeah, I can show some duck egg. So this one has a narrower range of colors that is useful for highlighting, but when you need it, you're really gonna enjoy it. So I'll pair this with, I'll pair it with a deep turquoise or one of our deep cool greens. Do you want to see turquoise or green, guys? It's your choice. I'm gonna swap to painting water that isn't already red. I told you your strong ones are strong. I've contaminated so heavily. Okay, turquoise. All right, so this is jade. I don't know if Puppy wants to be turquoise. Maybe he does. He's so dusty. He is. He is literally an unclean one. So it's going to take a couple of coats over black. It's all right though. We'll just get that first coat down. And work quite fast. We've got a decent drying time. The paint isn't like instantly drying so that it's hard to work with. But I'm just going to work really, really quick. And then I can show you a bit of highlighting. I did choose a very, well, it's not too cold today, but things will be drying faster in the summer or in Spain, but that's always the case, isn't it? I love these colors. I'm going to take the opportunity to show you some wet blending. Yeah, it is quite decent. So the ones that it's okay to dirty off, or it's practical to, you know, the ones where you're going to need to dirty them, we're completely cool with it, but we think there's some colors that should remain kind of special and untouched. I'll wet blend these together now. So I'm just gonna, while I can, anything that's underneath, I've got midnight here. I want to go down with that in the recesses. It's a really deep, crazy blue color. You could absolutely airbrush this as well if you wanted. So I'm just going to go from underneath. You don't have to worry about being too neat with this type of thing. Let me know if this is showing up okay on the camera. Hopefully it is. You'll notice that I'm not particularly diluting because the midnight doesn't have any white in it really. It's a very safe color to use, you know, thicker than you would think. It's not like you need no water, but you just don't need as much. This is the darkest blue that we have. This is wonderful. This is called Midnight, and it is one of my favorites of the entire range. Anyone who hasn't painted a great Unclean one before, you won't know that it comes as its own little sock puppet. It's very easy to hold while you're painting. Okay. Right, so what I should be able to do now put out a bit more of this. Do keep the questions coming, guys. I'm slightly capable of marketing, you know, if talking about things, marketing, colors, or whatever while I'm doing another task. Slightly. Okay, and then now we should be able to pretty much just like wet blend these together lazily. We don't have to get it perfect. I'm going to dry brush over this at the end. So you can see we're already getting some pretty cool color transitions down there. Just make sure that the recesses are that little bit darker. It depends. Some of the reds are, it's not, do you mean are they strong rather than pigment dense? What is your question? Well, that's I appreciate what you're saying, Sean, but they're on Kickstarter now, so we're talking about them while they're on Kickstarter. I mean, do you want us to not advertise our Kickstarter that is currently running and ends in 3 hours? They're not like speed paints. No, these are traditional acrylics. So absolutely keep your contrasts, keep your washes, or shades, depending which generation of them you're talking about. But these are kind of traditional acrylics. Very much like the edition before last from Games Workshop, which had paints like snakebite leather in it, and quite a few that people really miss, or at least, you know, I miss. I think they had some amazing colors in that range. And we're absolutely not expecting people to throw away any existing collections of really good paints, because these will combine with them really well. We've carefully designed the range to be able to do that. Hello there, person with an extremely long name. How are you doing? These guys' toes are always a really difficult bit to paint. I'm not sure how many of you have painted several great Unclean ones. I don't think it's that common, but I have painted many, and the toes are always a bit that I kind of semi-neglect or miss or forget. But it's a shame because the toenail's a really good excuse to get some contrasting colours in there. So I should know better. I'm trying to do better this time around. Might be Welsh. No, there's someone with a longer name than you. The person who just said hi. Someone with a very, very long name. Cool. All right, we are starting to show our potential. I'm just going to block in a couple of other areas that will look weird if I don't get them. Obviously, we're only painting part of a model, so it's going to look quite weird whatever I do. But his potential should be beginning to show. Oh no. Well, thank you very much for joining me briefly. Hey, Gunpow's getting big at the moment, isn't it? A lot of people are talking about it, and it looks like amazing fun. I've literally never done a kit, but I can completely see the appeal and the quality of the build experience out of this world. Really, really impressive. Okay, so we should be starting to see the kind of the color potential of this. I don't know exactly how you'd phrase that, but we can build it up. Build it up to some interesting additional colors too. I'm going to take a bit of that color that I spoke about, and instantly, so this is duck egg blue, you'll see what adding a little bit of white in does. Now, you don't always want to do this, but it can be really, really useful. So I'm just going to use it to go over a couple of places, and you can even paint over this with another color, or you're going quick hair dryer because it's going to be useful at this stage. Hey, they'll last a long time. Make sure you follow our videos. We've got a few good ones. The better you use them, as in like the smoother results, generally speaking, the longer the brushes last. Thank you very much. Don't worry, we will we'll go to retail with them, so you'll be able to find them in hobby stores and stuff. Okay, so I'm going to start suggesting light. I'm going to grab a little bit of spearmint. That's very nice of you. I'm sure you'll have a local hobby store who would take them as well. It's always appreciated for the painting desks in places. So these quick and dirty highlights in, I'll just paint over these, then we should be able to start suggesting that he's kind of lit from above, and also we should get a decent depth to those horrible, horrible folds. Working pretty fast here. My painting position isn't ideal. It will be good. I always think the great unclean ones are both really difficult and really easy because everything has an upwards and a downwards, so you can make it lighter at the top and have all these obscure bits on it. Curtis, no, we have, great question. We have a US hub, so no, that should just be normal. We have a healthily functioning US hub that is working really well. So I don't think you should experience any delays whatsoever. And there won't be any surprises, bad surprises, at least as far as, you know, like import stuff. We'll sort all that out. Now, really, if this had started from a grey base, we would have gone way faster and been way more colourful, but I think it's useful to show over black. A lot of people want to know how things go over black, even if it's not necessarily how I do it. Still a useful skill to have. He's starting to look quite cool. Very good, Chris. Chris has watched our most recent video. He probably should, and he should even more so if he's shiny, because he's slimy, right? So that would definitely necessitate some pretty gruesome reflections in those bits. They offer a unique challenge. Not many things are meant to be quite this wet and slimy in Warhammer, are they? Okay, cool. So we're starting to build up the idea that he's lit from above here. Yes, it will be. Thank you for the question. It will be. And Chris, over behind under, is in the chat, who's the person who designed this. So that's cool. Yeah, it's the option that I will use. I would, if you're going to travel, you might want to use the boxes because you can slip one into like a tote bag or something. I'll hold it up. Give me a second, rather than describing it badly. Size-wise, this is A3. Okay, it's very lovely. Look at that. See if I can. And this will hold all the paints in like a more traditional sense, I guess you would say, like this. But I'll be using this one for desks. All of these on the Kickstarter as well, they will be very much, yeah, it's lovely. They'll be very much branded clearly. Mine doesn't say it, but it'll say Founder Edition here. It'll be extremely clearly limited edition. So you know that we appreciate you being there at the very beginning. All right. So having built up some lighter areas, I'm going to actually jump backwards now towards some more colorful colors, and we'll see if we can start making this guy look pretty crazy. Such a busy model. So much going on, right? Yeah, they match the aesthetic of the brush boxes. Oh, no. Everyone on the Kickstarter will be able to select it, but if you don't select, if you're not, we won't do them in the future because these are limited edition founder ones. They'll say Founder Edition on it. Okay, midnight. Mix up some green in there, and let's start seeing what we can do. There we go. So this is where we benefit from our lighter colors that we were putting down before. Some more of that green in there. Pretty soft wet blending, which is very appropriate for the Nurgles. You have to become well known enough that we, as a teacher or an award winner or something, for us to do a custom texture palette. We've done them. Generally, it's people we've worked with for years or have been representing our brand solidly for years for us to make that offer to them. Do you need these paints, these FOMO? Exactly. The answer might be that you need them. They are rather lovely. Thank you. Yeah, the layering's starting to work a little bit better now. You know, he was in the middle stages where you need faith, but now we're moving through those quite nicely. Yeah, so we're starting to suggest his shapes a bit more. He's beginning to look pretty disgusting, which was always the aim, right? Can fill any gaps that look missed, and then areas like this that we've just literally completely forgotten, we should go and get now. Be a shame to miss out all those boils, wouldn't it? Yeah, the wet blending is definitely really helpful. I forgot. Is it Paul from EtherWorks? I have actually worked with him in the past, and thank you for the suggestion. They airbrush beautifully, like this well. That's white. That's the white, which in theory should be the most difficult color to airbrush with that we do, and it still is damn smooth. I think it's as smooth as anything apart from Tamiya flat white, but that's not an acrylic, so you know, that's still a huge compliment to its behavior to say it's even worth mentioning in the same sentence, because that's the holy grail as far as I'm concerned for airbrush white. Barbarian 2 Homeland. You can use any thinner. Great question. Yeah, you can use absolutely any thinner that you want with them. They just don't mind. It'll go the best with Tamiya X20, but I've used Vallejo, I've used Media. It's basically just fine with a load of other stuff. How's our guy looking? What do we think? Do we like his leg? I'm not sure how accurate the colors are, honestly, on the camera. Xavier, there is. Thank you very much. Yeah, Henry has, and I think Henry's tested it out with the same ones that I have, and he's found that it was fine with all of them, with all the paints that he was using too. So Media, Vallejo, AK, just all the normal thinners. Right. What direction are we going to go in for these highlights? I think it's time to actually warm them up a little bit. Let's see what we can do here. So this is taking our lemon, which is a wonderful, it's a pastel kind of color. It's one of our highlight set, which I shouldn't be covering over. They're down here. Here it is. And we're going to start stepping into slightly warmer highlights. Thank you, short attention span. Really appreciate it. I'm sure you won't be disappointed. If you have the army painters very first ever washes, do not throw them away. They're the best paints they've ever done, in my opinion. Just if that's useful. Like the strong tone, soft tone, dark tone. If you've got like literally first edition ones of those are outstanding. So don't just keep hold of those. Chuck away the rest. Okay. Right, I'm going to add on some slightly more brave highlights now. I'm going to mix in a little bit of our... Lean more towards green. I could actually dump in some of the yellows at this point, and maybe we should. We really want him to start looking pretty disgusting. So what could we do? Let's take the opportunity here to... It's very icy at the moment. Let's see what happens if we put a bit of this in. Ah, got you. Yeah, the washes are outstanding. Best product they've ever made, in my opinion. No, it won't. But you do have to do it up all the way. They're very travel safe, but you just got to do it up all the way. And any issues you have, or I've had so far, are because I didn't do it up all the way. And there's no downside to doing it up all the way either. Right, we're going to experiment. Ooh, that is disgusting. Let's put a little bit of canary in there, and that's taken it into a very disgusting direction. Yeah, I don't think the drop paints went down so well, did they? They were, I think they were probably just, they came out too fast. You know, if you're going to copy something that GW's made, like Contrast, I'm guessing this by the way, but I'm sure they will have spent like 4 or 5 years on those. There's an interview with the guy who was responsible for coming up with them on the Painting Fades YouTube channel. Thank you. Yeah, they're a pleasure to work with. Honestly, they're really. It sounds quite cheesy to say, but it's just a very enjoyable process using them. You know, like your time is rewarded. Nothing feels too tricky. I'm using a big brush as well. I'm using a 4, right? So that does really, really help. Hey, thank you, buddy. I'm sure you'll enjoy them. They stipple beautifully as well, and stippling is something that I personally should make sure to try on Gunpla because I'm sure that there's huge potential, and I love a good stipple. You can tell that I'm avoiding the foot, right? The toes are hard to do well. So what we'll do though is I'll try and take this up to like a decent level. And if people have got like challenges for the paints on this area, or they just want to see me continuing, just, you know, let me know. I'll do whatever it is. I am your demo monkey. It doesn't dry too fast, honestly, even though you've said it's a plus. It's got quite a good working time because I'm putting down quite diluted paint now, and it's over several other layers of this paint. What you'll find is the more layers of paint you have down, it tends to be the faster things will dry. Thank you for your support. Anyone who's backed, we'll make sure that you get some pretty beautiful limited edition vibes when you open that box, so you know that it was worth it. What do people want to see me doing on this? Do you want to see me like adding in his toes, or? Yeah, we will short attention span. So we want to have thinners because the paint always works best with its formulated specific thinner for the airbrush. It works great with everything. So, you know, I'm going to probably damage our future sales by saying this. You absolutely won't need it, but it will be slightly superior to the other options that are out there. We also have some quite good ideas about kind of playing around, maybe having a matte and a satin airbrush thinner, which I think is a fantastic idea. 5 different brands that are almost 30 years old. Yeah, lots of paints been painting 1978. You probably got some true special paints there. You got any old Dark Angels green? That is amazing. I have, one second. They do good dry brushing. That's some of my dry brushing. Here we go. I haven't shown it on this stream. Not on this stream, if that was the question. Get some more of our lemon out. Oh, I was talking with someone today actually about when they used to have the, they had the literal like sets of drawers, and it'd be one of every paint and drawers. I think that was it's like, I can't remember. That was 2000 and something. So with great unclean ones, if anyone's ever painted them before, it's all the little dots that make the difference. This is what will make it look disgusting and three-dimensional or shiny. So hopefully you can see here as you start adding them, and you don't have to be super fancy here. I've not got loads of stages in what I'm doing, but you're definitely rewarded for each dot that you do. Makes the piece look better and better and better and better. And if you want to do them in a different color and have them look pussy, you absolutely can. Yes, yeah, you are talking about chocolate. Ooh, pretend that never happened. There's chocolate there. It's our brown. It's outstanding. It's that is an industry-beating brown by a long way as well. It's just incredible. So good. How's it showing up what I'm doing? Is it still useful? I need to try them with enamels. They should be absolutely fine. Yeah, it is helpful for nasty. Marcel, 100%. That is a fantastic question. Let me get this to a stage where I'm happy to do that, and it would be my pleasure. I'm not going to sit here and do this for hours, but this type of mini is definitely, it really benefits from a little TLC stage. So I'll glaze some more color into the recesses. That would be perfect. Starting to look great unclean one-ish. Hello, Eric. How you doing? All right. Okay, I'm gonna get a little bit more. We'll jump right up. And this will be our dots, and then we can do some glazing. The nice thing when you do this to a model, if any of you are gamers, is that you're like, well, why am I spending all my time on this? And then this model's, a fifth of your army or something. So I always feel like it's much more rewarding to do this stuff on something that takes up a lot of points, and it's easy to just feel a bit better about it. Right. Something I want to talk about while I'm using it is these pastels have got more white in them, our highlights. So they're going to be stronger, they're going to be lighter, and that doesn't mean more colorful. They're very different things. But what it does mean is they're going to be a bit more matte. And because we've not tried to pushily standardize the range in terms of its finish, these are going to do slightly different things to, especially like Midnight that I started with, that is quite a shiny, smooth paint. These ones will be a tad rougher. That doesn't make them bad, but it does mean that they'll jump on and they'll do highlights really, really readily. So you need to be quite careful with them because they make a big difference very fast. See my concentrating silence there happen the moment I'm using this because it's just a stronger paint, right? So even dilute, this is something that you've got to take good care of. Capitan Jack, we will have late pledges open. You'll be able to get what's in the campaign. I'm not sure if it'll be for exactly the same price. It'll still be for a cheaper price than the general release, though. I should come prepared with that answer to the stream, sorry. That is too much there, that's too strong. I didn't highlight underneath that area. So this really stood out as being a bit too much. How are you feeling about these brave highlights? Are they too much? I think it looks quite cool. I mean, it's very it's very distinctive. Our chalkiness is absolutely minimal. It is as low as there is anywhere out there in the market, if not lower. Even in these. I think the reason that other people don't talk about this is they're worried about anything they say that doesn't sound strictly positive being construed as a negative of the brand, but your paints are going to behave more chalkily as you go up through highlights to paints that include more white. Ours are still absolutely at the bottom of chalkiness as a brand though, for every single color. All right, that's looking pretty cool and quite funky. The cases will be, and their prices, they'll be in the Pledge Manager section. So once the campaign has ended, I need to get my my little document out so people can see it. All right, here, so. So yeah, so they'll be available in the Pledge Manager. Right, some people asked for a bit of glazing. So what would we like to glaze with? Don't know if I should choose something like really funky. I am going to choose something really funky. We're gonna glaze with peat, which is a dark brown, and we're gonna mix it with blue. And we're gonna put this in the recesses, and we're gonna see if this ruins my model or not, which hopefully it doesn't. No, the additional colors are down the road in retail. We'll release them when we've got them right. Look at that color. Can you guys appreciate how fantastic that is? This is our cold brown peat mixed with midnight. Midnight looks kind of like that when it's pure, but if we mix the two of them, we get like this deep ocean brown something. Okay, so we've mixed that up as a glaze. I'm using a big brush. And then we're going to probably have to be a little bit careful. Thank you for your support, KM. Appreciate it. All right, I think we can be a bit brave with the brown. And then I'm just going to start adding this in. And I'll put it down as layering first. And then I'll dilute it more, and we'll get it to glazing consistency. Just by experimentation, this is how I would recommend you guys find your glazes. Put it down somewhere that doesn't matter. There we go, we're already good. I can also use this to run into recesses, and this is one of the nice things when you get a glaze consistency right, you can kind of have it serve multiple purposes with the same brush without having to go and change or reset anything. And we should see this starting to make a difference after a couple of passes. Obviously, we're doing it in a darker area. I can go and find a lighter area to show you. But underneath those boils is going to be a perfect example. Hopefully you're seeing what I'm doing now is I'm adding depth. So I'm holding my model upside down, so what I can see is what the light couldn't see. There we go. And this should add up quite nicely. I'm sure you can appreciate glazing with a brown blue on a green is hard. It won't reactivate. Yeah, the blue's cool, right? No, it absolutely doesn't reactivate. It takes a little while to dry, and once it's dry, it is dry. It's very durable, especially being a slightly more satin range. That's why GW have a satin range. They make gaming minis that you pick up by their heads sometimes. So it would be crazy for them not to make a durable range. So have decent durability too, which is a nice plus. Let me do some harder glazing. I'm going to try and make this crack look as if it's a bit more diseased. I can be more brave, stronger. This might be between layering and glazing, but I can build it up quite fast like this. So maybe that would be cool for you to see live. So I'm going to try and make his flesh look, you know, old and rotten. It's already working. This showing up. I'm still using a huge brush. See you, Darren. Have a nice one. Sorry if I missed anything. The moment I started doing glazing, I had to concentrate that a little bit more, as I'm sure everyone does. Can we see how that's gone? Is that showing up on camera? Hopefully you can see the benefit of the color choices as well. That brown in there is doing so much work. It should get easier now that I've got a couple of layers down. So the glazing is outstanding. To answer any questions about the glazing, just incredible. Marcelo, that's a wonderful question. I do. It's gherkin. So gherkin is a very warm green. Not like it's crazy light, but it's got quite a bit of yellow in it, and it is so useful. I mean, I don't know where to put it. I guess I could put it on a horn. This is what gherkin does. Also, it like sneakily, it's got quite a bit of white in it. And as a result, you benefit from like accidentally amazing coverage. It's putrid though, isn't it? It's just like the color, wait there. The color of life. Marcel, there is if we have chosen for there to be. So some colors we want them to be pure and colorful because that's how you're going to want them. Like that. You want that color to be good for flames, and you don't want it to have a load of white in it because then you couldn't paint flames. So some colors there is, and some colors there aren't. It's not like we've got strict rules that we've adhered to for every set of 6. So the reds might have more coverage paints in than the cool greens do, or the turquoises might have higher coverage on average than the cold greens or something like that. We've just done it on an individual paint by paint basis, and hopefully you trust us as teachers on the ones that we've chosen for that. Okay, so hopefully that gives you a good example of how incredible gherkin is. Watercolor. It's just so alive, isn't it? They're usable with every medium. Good question, Tracy, and thank you for your support. Yeah, so that yellow that I showed there was marigold, which is like our egg yolk yellow, and you just need that color to be quite pure. Otherwise, there's no point having it, right? If you dirty that color off, it's not that color. Whereas if you dirty off mustard, which I'll show you in a second, like mustard is meant to be dirty, and marigold is not. So this is dirty and has amazing coverage, and this isn't, and it has lower coverage. And that's how we've approached the entire range. Likewise, this can have brilliant coverage almost by accident as part of its color. So it does. You know, that's a very watered down base coat over black, and it's almost done it in a oneer. It's crazy, right? Whereas these deep blue sea greens that we have here, this would look so much worse if they were high coverage all the way throughout the spectrum of colors that we've got. Oh, it's so good for goblins. Let me show you. I'll tell you what, I need any excuse. I don't need any excuse, sorry, to enjoy using gherkin. So let's show you. Yeah, absolutely way ahead. That's what makes me, it's something that's, whether it's like rotting or blooming, it's just something that is coming alive for sure. Right, let me put this out and we'll do a great unclean one can have some other stuff going on. People want to see this with layering with a big normal brush, or do they want to see it with a dry brush? I don't mind. You let me know which you prefer while I upset you with a hairdryer. Dry brushing, short attention span both. A answer that fits with your name rather beautifully. Okay, let me find a dry brush. Step one. Okay, we go. Right, the demo is going to change at this point. I guess we're getting the dry brush out. So for those of you, I mean, if you're on this channel, you probably know that I like dry brushing. If anyone wants to know what I'm doing and I'm skipping over it too fast, just shout out though, because we are here to educate. So I'm using a great big dry brush. It's one of ours. And what we're going to be doing is trying to put down rapidly a smooth base coat. I put out my paints wrong for dry brushing. I'm going to take them more carefully. They should be in lines, but we'll take care. I'm very good at judging my distances. All right, you ready? Things are going to start changing pretty fast. So what you're going to see now is what happens when you put someone in their chosen environment, because this is just, this is my home course, if you will, and I'm very, very used to painting like this. Not that I can't paint normally, but this is my bag. I get that everyone paints differently though, and it's much more common for people to start layering up their highlights on something like this. Not that dry brushing's bad for it. Far from it. Okay, so I'll take you through what I'm doing. I'm working very, very, very fast, and I'm trying to suggest that we have a darker, deeper green underneath, and then it's going to transition into that more putrid, lighter green up above. What is dry brushing? There is, Nick. We have committed to trying to get you your sets May, but we are going to do our utmost to get them to you sooner. All right, so we can bring up this area here to be lighter, and quickly hair dry. Sorry. Okay, so what we're going to do is going to take our dry brushing from our lighter sections to our darker sections. Hope this shows up well on camera. Let me know if the angle of the lights or anything isn't good enough. Damn, this is going to look good. Okay. And now what I need to do, normally I'd be painting more of the model so it wouldn't be an issue. I'm just going to wash my brush a bit, and that is to take some of the blue out. They will come to Pledge Manager when the Pledge Manager is open. So we will only open the Pledge Manager once they are ready. And we'll only announce them once they're ready as well, once you've got a good idea of what's going on. Okay, so now we have gherkin. This is pretty much pure gherkin. Is this showing up okay for you guys? And we need to decide what our highlight is going to be. Yeah, it's just about using the right colors for the job. So sometimes if you want a color to look cool as hell, you just got to accept that it's going to take a couple of stages. Some colors are automatically predisposed towards looking cool as hell, and have good coverage, and that's a wonderful bonus. Thank you, Noel. We cannot wait for people to be using them who aren't us. All right, we're really excited for that when that happens. People are like, I'm excited. Believe you me, if you'd worked on something for this long, you'd really be wanting to get to the stage where everyone can use it. Yeah, it mixes amazingly well. I used ice yellow, our equivalent here, like so well. I will go up to some ice yellow-ish, so I can show you on this model. All right, so carefully. Coming from the top here. And then what we're going to do is going to step a little bit into a far lighter green. And hopefully it looks pretty good. It does. We are grand. All right, ice yellow appreciator. And there are many of you, or us, I should say. I include myself amongst that. So you can see we've got white in there. So we are going to have to take a little bit more care now. Just involves testing the dry brush a bit more. My hand's going to rapidly change color at this point. Too wet, or I didn't mix enough. So what we do is we just carry on mixing and mixing. Let's mix more of the previous color in the brush. There we go. Hopefully you can see how smoothly this is picking things up. You're going to see this. We do. There's an update on the Kickstarter about it. You're going to see the block, the rack, if you will, that I'm using, and you'll see a pair of two boxes that can hold the entire range. They've got enough space for 33 paints in each. All right, we've got to be really careful now, guys. Very light touch. We'll just hit the very edges. Look at that. Is this showing up? Is this fancy enough for people? for the speed. I mean, it should be. If anyone's got problems with this speed for this quality, then I would challenge them to a race. Or they're just on the internet trying their best to hate on things. I don't know if zooming works. I think it just makes a lower quality thing bigger. So let me know if I need to hold closer or zoom more. Appreciate you helping out as ever, KM. Jam's community service. Yeah, like I could these days I could in 30 minutes. No exaggeration there whatsoever. Okay, clean our brush more, go for more of our ice yellow, which as I said is extremely smooth, but we've got to be careful at this point because it still is like a dangerously light color. All right, so much care needed. Looks so good, thank you. Wait till you see how fast my edge highlighting is. Done. Okay, so I'm slowing down now because the risk is high. You know, it doesn't matter how smooth we made our paints. Looking pretty good though. I've been painting him so fast, I've made his insides warm from my hand heat. What an appropriately disgustingly nurglish thought. Okay. All right. So a little bit of dry brush education. Just got to clean the brush now, and my aim is to get it really smooth feeling. I'll take more of our ice yellow. We have a color called Warm Light as well, which is much more neutral and ivory-ish. It's also wonderful. Let me just see if this, maybe that is better for the colors, turning my light down. I don't know. You're loading them too heavily, narrative hook. It's the same with everyone in the world. I've taught thousands of people. You don't need to put your paint inside your dry brushes, you put it at the top of your dry brushes. If you're doing it in the way that I'm doing it, at least, you can almost completely avoid issues like that. So I'm testing my palette down here. Squig Hog boys, perfect. What more could you need? All right, so I think that should adequately answer the can they dry brush question. Hopefully that is all right for people. Are we good? Did we do good? And I'm just going to squidge my brush a bit to try and get it in some areas that it's a bit too big for. No lewd comments, please. I'm joking. Say what I feel like. They will be available in retail separately. Hi, Butcherbird. How you doing? Where are you from again? You're not from Australia, despite your bird being from Australia, right? Your name. Okay. Look at that beauty. That was it. Thank you. Tag. Okay. Banging, right? Did we prove adequately? Just cleaning my brush. Hi there. Hello, Canada. Grey. Give me another, a bit more to that. Like blue grey, warm grey, purple grey, all the greys. Give me a little bit more help. Testing, testing, down on the palette here. Oh, thank you, Dimon. Right, I have to be really careful. I'm actually going to soften up the brush a bit, as in like add in some more water and take some more care. There we go. Beautiful. Nice, right? You mean like, do they have a good squidge? They have an excellent squidge. Of course you can. They put paint out incredibly perfectly. I'm going to be careful, this one's quite full. But they have a very, very nice squidge. They're not hyper transparent, which is in fashion at the moment, but they're the best to use. They're the most reliable, they're the most accurate for squidging, and they're just wonderful. I don't know what a lambent looks like, but I think I can bring one up on my laptop. Give me a second, I'm just going to check out that reference. Sorry, oh, the internet's being unhelpful. Just want a huge picture. Okay, he's like a brown. Thank you, KM. Yes, they do everything. Well, Daniel, we appreciate you backing. And if you do, you'll feel very special when you get anything limited edition. I just need to close them, but also these came to Adepticon with me, and maybe like they were used on repeat by 30 artists over the weekend, so they got a bashing from people that aren't as careful as me. We have scarce resources at this early stage. How do you feel about me painting his loincloth for you? The blue set up a wonderful black. A really, really good one. All right, then. It has been requested, though, that I do like a grayish. So I'm just gonna go a cappella here, and we'll see how we go. I wanted an excuse to use olive, which is why we've used it. And I'm going to use some of our black. Green tartan. No, they don't come with agitators, but it's easy to remove them, the nozzles, so you can add your own in. Okay. Okay, we made like a neutralish grey. Oh, like a warm grey to begin with. Grey-brown. This is much nicer in person than I would imagine it's looking on the camera. Probably looks very, very close to the rest of the model. But trust me, it's got a slight warm brown green to it, and it is lovely. Really nice. Get out the normal brush for a sec. Okay, so all we need to do now is I'm I'm going to add stone. And this is a really good, very neutral-ish highlight. You will find a lot more uses for this than perhaps you would think. So I'm going to take a little bit of that and add it in the section of the palette that I've been using so far. We will be at Spiel. We just came from Spiel. I was at Spiel. Oh, this is already looking great. It's a shame it's kind of close to the color of the rest of it, but hopefully a couple more stages of highlights, you guys will be able to appreciate what this has going on. That stone? Do you mean like how close towards ivory is it? We have an ivory equivalent, which is warm light. So that's what I'd use if you're specifically after an ivory. There we go. Looking amazing. Very, very nice colors here. It's just drying. Take a bit more. There we go. So this is probably, oops, that's a bit heavy there. We'll just have to lean into that. This is probably the stage where it starts showing up a bit better. Yeah, it might be. It's cameras often struggle a bit more with black. And I've got a grey here that's got green in it and brown, so I could absolutely understand the camera basically not knowing what to do with it. I'll go a bit lighter. It's a bit heavier than I would like to normally. Yeah. It's hard for me to tell. Some things the camera likes and some things it doesn't like as much. Got split personality disorder. Yeah, smoky grey is pretty good representation. Just gonna clean the brush a little. And then we're gonna go for, I'll take our warm light. This is our ivory. Oh yeah, don't get me started on the difficulties of representing colors digitally, because it is impossible. It's not even like philosophical, it's just impossible. Okay. So I've taken warm light, which is definitely lighter than stone. So it has its place. There we go. Nice. I'm not sure if you can see, but there's these tiny wrinkles that GW put on. I think basically because this contains a large percentage of white, the camera's doing that thing where it just jumps out and you can't really get around it. Yeah, there it is. That is a great question. Butcherbird, can you answer that? Do you happen to know? Yeah, no worries, dude. Sorry it didn't show up better on camera. Some things are, green's always been very unproblematic to show up, as long as it's not a cool green. Like this one looks way better in person. This one I think is quite accurate in terms of how it's been shown on the camera. I'll zoom out a bit. All right, that is probably close to enough for now. He's looking pretty good. I can do a little bit of glazing on him, take some more questions. 2,082 backers. I hadn't checked. That is amazing. Thank you for your support, guys. Right. We want to make this guy interesting, right? So it's time to go back. Put in some ocean in the recesses. Hey, the UK is not too far away, and some very, very good painters come here. Internationally renowned painters from all over the world as well. So if you were curious, that would not be a bad thing to do, I don't think. Okay, how are we doing? So play with this angle a little bit more. Okay. So for the people that asked about glazing, we are now going to do some quick glazing. Soften it a bit, especially for the higher up ones. Is that showing up? Okay, everyone's saying hello. Thank you, Narrative Hook. All right. We'll go for the same kind of after treatment that we did on the other side. So we'll just glaze darker colors underneath anything that is very rounded and ball-like and voluminous. You could do this with the purple if you wanted, that would be fine too, like a purple-green. It's a really good way to suggest a little bit of lighting to it and get some interest in a way that's completely safe too. Like, it's extremely hard for this to go wrong. As long as you don't have your mix too strong, it doesn't even take long. Big brush, and you can sweep around like the entirety of a section, almost without having to go back to your wet palette or palette. Soften my transition into those a bit more. That's better. Looking cool. Oh, Henry, thank you. If that's you who's jumped in. Had some very nice people have been subbing in, helping. The cavalry have arrived. Cult of Paint cavalry. Hi, Henry. Thank you. We've been doing some rather successful dry brushing. No surprises there. Feel free to fire off with any questions you have. Henry is in and he's definitely knowledgeable. So we've worked on these paints with Cult of Paint. It's completely a joint endeavor. And yeah, all of us have been pitching in various ways throughout. Okay, that looks great. That looks really cool. I missed these bits, so we'll get those. But yeah, I think that is a very successful leg section. Oh, it'd be great. I have done that, actually. I've done literally that on a show model that got lost. I don't know where it ended up. It's probably in a box of demo minis somewhere, but I did a really good one of those. They will be released everywhere in the future. I'm using them thinned down lots now. So let me take some. Henry, thank you for coming to the rescue. Right, so if I'm making a glaze, see it's very diluted. And then we simply just, I've been aiming it for the undersides. It's pretty forgiving. Just pop it wherever we need it. Cools things down a bit. I think cools this warm green down to cool green. We are extremely pleased with it. So maybe Henry can answer for himself, but privately, my hope was 2000 plus would have been wonderful to hit. Would have been really, really good, and that was a hope, not an expectation. So, you know, I had a prediction that would be about what our potential could be, because we've not offered millions of options, so a lot of people will rate for retail. But yeah, I'm extremely pleased with our nearly 2,100. Is brilliant. 2 hours to go, I believe. His cheeks need a rosy highlight. we're going to end up with it's like a patchwork elephant. Thank you, Stephen, Stefan. Okay, what's next? What are we sharing? Do you want me to? I can make a wounded section disgusting. Let's do that. Why not? So I haven't used claret yet, and that is sad because claret is wonderful. So I'll show you some mixing. You won't have fees to worry about. We'll either sort that or they'll come domestically from within a EU hub, which will actually be in Germany. So you should be fine. How do you want me to do them? I mean, yeah. Let's just start. Who needs planning? To be honest, the boils here are a weaker section of the model in terms of the painting quality. So let's go, and we will freeform this. Plenty of knowledge in the chat, I'm sure. So maybe you guys can help me out. It's claret. This is one of my favorite 3 colors. It's in my top 3. Okay, Henry's telling me what to do. I'm being careful. It's not like a super strong color, but obviously this is going to stand out like a sore thumb if I slip. I mean, that's already looking like it's doing that. Look at, I'm going to put this on paper because everyone in the world needs to see how good this color is. Look at that. Just beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. It is from Warhammer, and it is literally sick, diseased. Or was that the joke? Probably was. Okay, so this is helping actually because while the green looked good, these bits are a very important part of the model. So nice to have them, at the very least, just blocked in. Hi Ian, how you doing? Editor Ian in the chat. That's not Editor Ian referring to himself in the third person, by the way, in case you were wondering. All right, so while I'm blocking these in, do people have... Oh, thank you, Daniel. Appreciate it. Been amazing having all you guys joining the campaign live in this video. It's very exciting. And it's very appreciated. Do any of you have questions while I'm doing this kind of... like it's like an admin task on the model, putting the red in all these places? Hey, I was talking to Henry earlier, and he, I believe, very correctly has described the paint set as like made for the old world. I do think he's completely correct. We didn't aim for that. Obviously, we've got a lot of favorites from historic paints that used to exist and no longer do. But it's not like we set out, you know, we're going to make a Goblin Green, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. But my God, have we made a very good set. Eric, I'm not sure if I know the answer to that one. It was very thinned. Thank you for the question. So let me show you again on the paper because that's yeah. Right, so here is it neat, crazy, and then I'll really go to it being watered down. More water, more water. There you go. That's claret. Definitely one of our deeper, darker colors. Okay. Right, so let's get out some of our perhaps unexpected colors. I'm going to get out peach, and then, because Henry said so, we'll be using some of the yellows and the oranges, but I'm just going to do some pre-work with the peach from the highlight set, which has really rounded off and made the range for me. All right. Chris, to answer your highlights and recesses question, you could probably literally see the still wet paint reflecting in there. And if we were painting like utter pros, that is what we would be looking to suggest is happening. If you're still here, Chris. So that's what Mr. Soper would do if he was painting this model. It's not what I will be doing. I am not 5-time Slayer Sword winner David Soper, King of Nurgle. Yeah, the satin range is heaven. I mean, this went down so fast. Anyone in the chat can probably testify. Either of those words, or a word that isn't made up, could probably do that to how fast it went down and how smoothly it went. It wasn't like hard work to get something that looks decent like this does. these bits are meant to be muscles, so maybe these should be more like, I don't know, like lavendery or something in there. I'm really not sure. What's going to be kind of unexpected and disgusting, because that's what it should be, right? Cool. All right. Just need to... I don't know if I need to plug my my camera in, but we're going to do it just in case. All right then, should be good. So we're working on Pappy. I'm about to bring out the yellows. Hopefully we can make him look very disgusting. That's the aim. And we are going to be at 2,100 backers at some point soon, which is just amazing. All right, Marigold is coming out and we're going to experiment a little bit. I obviously haven't combined these two colors yet, so we're just going to see how that's gone. So, Sangria, meet Marigold. Yeah. It's going to make some really warm, horrible, like, hopefully this should... Alexa, stop! It's Alexa telling me that the working day will be over soon. Otherwise I forget. She needs to remind me now before it ends. Great. All right, so this just looks yellow and alive and warm and disgusting. And because neither of these are like coverage crazy, what I can do is I can pretty much just layer them fairly heavily over the upwards facing areas. And that pre-shading we did with the peach from the highlight set is going to do its work. Now the paint's not dried yet, so it's going to look less shiny and glossy once it has, but I think we're still in a pretty decent spot. We might need a hairdryer soon as well. Every time I paint a great unclean one and I spend proper time looking at it, I am reminded by just how truly disgusting they are, in all the best ways. Artistic Owl, we don't know retailers yet. It's our job and their job to make that happen between us. But any ones that are already carrying AO in there, I expect, however, that these will have a really big potential for reach and also very high demand. So speaking myself as a retailer, look at this disgusting color we're making up, especially when you're thinking boils. That will be what makes a difference. So if you want to get it from your local hobby retailer, you make sure you go to them and tell them that you want them to stock mini color, and then that'll help. Okay. Truly horrible. Properly disgusting. Look at that. Isn't it foul? Absolutely, yeah. Everything you could wish for will be available in the Pledge Manager. We are, we're literally financially incentivized to make it the best environment for you to be able to pick whatever you like from what we make. And there will be mini color branded options for everything. Brush sets, texture palettes, not eggs, but everything that it's possible for, we will. Cool. So this disgusting orangey red has worked quite well. I just note that I want to be able to lean towards the suggestion that there's pus in there. So We need it to be really warm. These colours are perfect for it. In a horrible way. Yes, absolutely. Thank you, narrative. Yeah, I love the eggs. Marigold. All right, stepping it up properly now. We are fully into pus orange. A name that we chose not to put in our range. We went for nice names, but Marigold will do it. So this might take a couple of layers, but I'm fine with that. I could also have painted white underneath it, but I think in this situation, I'm fine with just going around a couple of times. We're really suggesting that. Our colors are so good. And didn't we do a good job? They are fantastic. It's just so much fun using them. So, how does this paint compare using coverage, finish, medium, and other features? So there is variation within the range for coverage. Some of it is nuts, like the greens that I use to base this area are incredible. And some of it, like the paint that I'm using now, is lower, but that's because we wanted this paint to be a purer color. So what we've done in the range is for the ones where coverage is necessary, we've pushed it. And for the ones where quality of color is the priority, we haven't pushed it. So like I am now, maybe need to do a couple of steps, but it's worth it because if this color had white in it or gray, even worse, it would not be doing what it's doing now visually for you. So we've made that decision for you guys and hopefully you trust us. Again, that's on a paint by paint basis. Cool. They're looking pretty lovely or disgusting, depending on your take on this. Nice. Do I have swollen buboes? I don't. What else would people like to see? I'm going to quickly dot those with one of our lightest colors. In fact, why not use this? And then I'm going to glaze over them just to get final highlights on the go to make them look really shiny. And then I can do whatever else people want to do. Dry brush a horn. What is it that people would like to see? There is a brush place in the Founders Edition, but there is not brushes in there. It's already great value for money without us adding in brushes. You'll have to select your own. It's like one of those times where I feel like we don't need the glaze. We probably do need the glaze. We definitely doing a couple of those because I could have been more subtle with that. Okay, glaze time. Plenty of you have asked about glazing. They do it very well and very easily. And in fact, I'd probably argue that they're one of the best ranges for you learning it and being helpful for that because can be harder with stronger paints, and we've got variation. Some are strong, some are not. Okay, cool. They look horrible. Well done, me. Really horrible. Smash that brief. Okay. Okay, what would you like me to show you next? Some things go faster in painting and some things go slower. If that was saying that the that would be a mother highlight. If you're talking about using the same color to highlight everything. Okay, I'll do the horn. I mean, I do not need much of an excuse to use gherkin some more. This is my favorite color, for those of you who were not there when that was asked. Henry can put in his favorite color or colors. But these two are, that's number one and that's maybe number three. Cappuccino as well. It's wonderful. I might use cappuccino to highlight this. We'll see how the first layer goes. Basting first, so I've already put down one coat of this. Gherkin happens to have quite fantastic coverage, which you maybe wouldn't expect over black, but it's quite easy to get a little bit more white into light greens, at least, without it kind of ruining the color. So that's how this one is like a 2-coat coverage over black type of paint. Look at that. 1 coat, 2 coats. Pretty much done. Here is. I haven't shown it, but there's some stippling there and here. It's quite fancy stippling, but they stipple so well. Basically, what you want for stippling is you want not too fast a drying time, and you want the paint to be a little bit satin and not like physically really thick. It can be strong, but you don't want it to be goopy and thick. And if you've got those properties, which we have, then stippling and dry brushing go particularly well. All right, there's this horn. I believe you're looking for mother highlight. You can also do it in the shadows, and that would be called a mother shade. I can show you some of that. Indeed, it is. Right, second coat down, sorry, third coat. And now we are, we are perfectly down over black. 3 thin coats. Nowhere's missed. Everywhere looks lovely. Should I do a bit of airbrushing with my leaky hosed airbrush? Is that what people would like to see? I could spray his tip. If you've got like some ultra matte, ultra strong, ultra coverage paints, we would be a good complement to them, but our range is going to be very different from them, so you could use them together and get the best out of both worlds. Okay, right, let's see. As I mentioned, my replacement hose is still hidden downstairs where I live, because the building's concierge has been locked away for some reason. So sorry if the compressor runs quite a lot. Okay, let's see how the airbrush is doing. So as mentioned, any thinner, I will use one of the widely available ones. I have, it's taped. It's already taped. We tried everything. I'll let the chat decide. If his horn tips are going to get darker towards the end, just black? Or what should we fade towards? Like a deep brown, maybe? Like a really dark brown? What would people like to see? Peat. Hey, that is a solid suggestion. All right. Dark warm brown, chocolate, dark cold brown, peat. Peat is amazing. Peat the War Game is amazing, but this is also amazing. Now the other two guys, Henry and Andy from Cult, are definitely better and more proficient airbrushers than I am. So if you want to see some really smooth work, Henry did a video that is already up, went up 2 days ago, I believe, on the Cult of Paint YouTube. So if you want to see how smoothly it can be airbrushed, I recommend checking that out, because it will be smoother than I manage here, but I will do my best. Okay, that was the black. Where's the peat gone? Peat is just an outstanding color. Once I've mixed it in my airbrush, I'll show you some of this. I mean, the things it makes you think of are not surprising with a name like peat, but it's definitely a very natural color. Okay, so a little look on the paper. All right, so if people wanted to see how fine it can airbrush, my airbrush isn't even clean, so that should be a really good indication. It's a good airbrush. But yeah, all right, and then hopefully I can set this up in a way where things can be focused on all right. Right, with your airbrushing, generally the first step is you just want to get some airbrushed paint down on your area, and it's not about getting coverage at all. It's just getting some type of a foundation. And we do not overload it at this stage. That's really common. Get your hairdryer, sorry. Because airbrushing likes going down over more airbrushing. Just like layering likes going down over more layering. Same with dry brush, same with everything. It wants to go down not only over the same paint, but the same style of painting. I think I can fade this to black as well. So already looking pretty smooth. And like I said, this is not my, hey, amazing, Henry. And 6. All right, let's continue. Henry, if there's anything that needs my attention in the chat, feel free to, like our private chat, feel free to say here, like go and check something out or whatever. I don't imagine we'd need to, but do let me know. Okay, this is already looking great, and it's just some airbrushing of a nice color over another nice color. Going really, really smoothly, very, very predictable. It's nearly dry. What I will do, let's get fancy. So I'm going to let this dry. I'm going to carefully dry brush it, and then we're going to use the airbrush again. Cool. I'll be adding black in. That's what will be the second step. Hey, nice KM. Okay. So I need a smaller dry brush. We have one here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to carefully just take up some of the gherkin. I'm going to take it up the horn to over the area that we just airbrushed. So I'm just going to do a final check, and I'm probably actually going to take it a bit further down. Okay, I need to let it dry. But we have no time for patience. Okay, right, dry brushing begins. This, if anyone is interested, is probably the fastest combination of techniques available for army painting Games Workshop plastics. Airbrush, then dry brush, then wash. It's not like using one means you can't use the other. In fact, having them hold hands is about as good as you can get. So very carefully. Hopefully this shows up well, because I'm not going to get... There we go. Look at that. Beautiful. Insane. What sharp, perfect dry brushing behavior these paints have. Just unbelievably good. Look at that. Why would you not paint like that? Are we seeing this? It's going to go all the way, but there will be some more airbrushing to follow, and I'm going to do a little bit more dry brushing before then too. That was heavy there, so I've got to be careful. It's quite hard at the very tip, but the texture is there until almost the very end of these areas on the GW models. Cool, right? It's just cheating. I've been waiting a long time for the second wave of rather amazing Cult of Paint hardened Steenbeck airbrushes to come out, and I'm going to be doing some how to combine techniques videos in the near future. Okay. I wonder if I need stone here. We'll have a little test. We'll see. So where do I put my paint? To the tiniest bit of warm light. That was too big. Far too big. But we'll remove it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the dry brushing. That as a highlight to the base. I think we're okay actually. Sorry, I know this type of thing is going to cause the camera some focal problems. Hopefully you can appreciate the at least the transformation, even if it's not happening like perfectly live. Just adding a tiny bit more in. And part of the reason why this looks cool is because gherkin, did anyone know that I love gherkin? Gherkin has quite a lot of yellow in it. So as you build it up, it gets kind of warmer and warmer, even if you're using quite a neutral color. Oh dear, I've got a bit of something. Knife. Oh, cling on. There we go. Lovely. All right, so I can go up a little bit lighter. But I'll only do that towards the base of the horn. Okay. Cool, and then we're gonna airbrush again, really carefully. Just remove some excess off the brush so we don't leave it to dry out. Probably won't need the brush again. Right, take some of our black, which is somewhere. No, that's peat. Here we go. I'm going to put in a little bit of black into the airbrush. Keep those questions coming about the range or the Kickstarter or the options or the properties. That's what we're here for. Okay, it's taking our black, mixing it with the peat. It's not like the strongest black, it's not weak, but it's not crazy strong, so it's quite easy to get your mixes correct with it. Give it a little gargle. And then very carefully, let's see if we can airbrush. See, I'm literally aiming for my fingers here. Shit. And then I'm going to put my finger underneath here so I don't overspray past the tip of the horn. Okay. There you go. Looking pretty good. Let me put my hand behind that. Tasty, all right? I could absolutely dry brush the pure green a little bit further up that would be cool. And I will make this darker, and I will also do pure black at the very end. There we go. Looking banging. Thank you, Butcher. Right, I'll blast out the airbrush, pure black. Quick pure black, and then we should be good to go. Much like when I dry brush, we've still got some of the peat in the airbrush. So this won't be pure black, but so as you can see, I've airbrushed like hours in the last year. The airbrush behavior is exemplary. Henry's most recent video on color paint, absolutely worth checking out on this subject specifically. Okay, so we have like luminous under the ocean leg that hasn't worked out so well on camera but looks great in real life. We have a very cool, like here we've got a very warm desaturated grey loincloth, and then we have incredible horns. Thank you, AG. Honestly, the paint makes it easy. Not that I'm trying to do something crazy complex here, but it doesn't hurt to have a paint that just plays very well with dilution and mixing generally. So yeah, I can only take some of the credit. I masked well, I'll take that. I wasn't an idiot and didn't just cross fingers. That is how easy it can be when you combine techniques in the right way. So what we did there is we just base coated by hand. We didn't need to use any specific techniques for that. Picked a color that looks good over black and works well over black, which was gherkin. Used it pure. and then we airbrushed a little bit towards the tips with peat. Then we dry brushed it with the same green and added ivory, and then we airbrushed towards the tips with black. That is it. 0.4 all the way. It's a compressor with a broken hose, which is why it's going so often. It's an Iwata Smart Jet Pro. It's 15 years old. It's incredible. They're quite expensive these days. It's literally the same one it's been for years and years. I would thoroughly recommend you use a 0.4. By the way, there are both options available, especially if you get the Infinity. But yeah, from the COP brushes, 0.4 is the one. And that's what you're using, like GW, or using something else, like good paint for airbrushing, bad paint. I just think a 0.4 is a good idea. No worries. Henry will probably have some alternate compressor info if he's able. Or I'm sure there'll be plenty of helpful people in chat. Okay, leave my airbrush there and I'll turn it off. I do like the burble of my compressor. It's been the same. It's been accompanying me for all my painting time, even though I use it a lot less than I used to. That looks so good. Think how good like a completely green natural colors Great Unclean one could look. I'm tempted to, I think I'm going to manually glaze a bit of black, because why not? Okay, so just taking our black here. Need to be careful because airbrushing is super smooth. What we'll do is we will start, I'll mask this with my hand to show up easier. How did we do this before? Like this, okay? So start at the tip. Nice. Is that working? It is a happy compressor. It's been sat next to my feet for the last 15 years, like a faithful dog. My one doesn't have a reserve, actually. Mine doesn't have a tank. You can get, there is a handle tank version of mine, which is quite popular. It's got a tiny tank. All right, this is actually making quite a big difference, so I'm glad that I've done this. It's just cooler when the tip goes to closer to a pure black. Look at that. Both evil and alive and green, all at the same time. Pistachio colors. Got to be a good thing. Just going to take the opportunity to clean my dry brush a little bit. Yeah, we can do some skin color. Let me just give this a good clean, because I rifled through quite a lot of colors there. By the way, if people are curious, no paint inside my brush, just it on the tips, so cleaning like this will pretty much get everything off that you should be concerned about. And it's another reason why you should use a low profile texture palette, because I'm basically using my texture palette like a wax rubbing. Brush is almost clean. Right. Here were some previous tutorial notes. Okay, so like a, let's go for a pinky skin. I'm not particularly good at human skin. or well practiced rather. It hasn't come up tons in my army painting apart from one ogre army. I had some very pale skinned, like bluish, blue tints to it at least, not literally blue, elves, and that's it apart from the ogres, so I've not really painted it tons. See if we can mix something up. Just get a little, we've got some green already on the palette. Like I said, there's definitely better people out there at this. So this is burnt orange. It's really, really useful. It's quite like Bugman's Glow, I would say. Take a little bit of green. Oh, I've literally made like a make your own Cadian flesh tone, I think, or one of theirs, whichever is the one that has a lot of white in it. So more GW knowledgeable can give me that info. So I was always a base coat lighter than you want then wash guy. Yeah, so because, thank you for noticing. So because I used both stone and I used warm light, sorry, ice, it's our lemon, yellow, they've both got a decent amount of white in. So what you'll find is that that will drastically improve your coverage. And it's just an option if you want it, right? You shouldn't start every single color off with that in there, but when you need it, you need it. So it's very, very good to have the highlight set to be able to reach for at some point if you want to instantly, drastically increase the coverage of your paint. Right, we're going to have to bring out the hairdryer again at some point soon. I'll just base coat his hand. Two layers will pretty much do that perfectly, I think. Again, some colors just don't want to. Yeah, we've got some talent for skin tones, so we will make sure that that exists. If I don't know if Henry's still in the chat, but if he is, he could let us know what skin tones he uses. Henry, I just saw your question. It's trapped at my concierge along with my my hose. Man, this is great. We made such good paints. Look at that. Over black too as well. And it's still pretty smooth. That will be 3 coats required, but I think that's fine for over black. If this was over grey or something sensible, we'd just be good already. Yeah, there's a lot of options in here that are just really sensible options to have. When you're like, so because we haven't done triads, if I'm allowed to talk on this for a bit, because we haven't done triads, what happens with a triad is you pick one color that has to be in your triad, and then basically you have to have 2 other colors to go around it, and you end up with a lot of paints. But 2/3 of them haven't been picked. They're just ones that are needed to go around a color that was picked. We've only picked colors that were needed. like in a very regimented fashion. If it's in the range, then it's because we knew we needed specifically that color and that color only. And as a result, we have a lot of kind of my favorite red, my favorite yellow. That's my alarm. They're everywhere in the range. And what I think that has led to is the fact that you're just going to be working. You're like, oh, I need to mix up a this, and it just goes so well because all the paints that are in there are perfect. I have tried to pick up the airbrush 3 times now, along with my hose. But yeah, I'll be very pleased when I can use it. There we go. So I'm not quite sure how it's coming out on camera. Everything that's got a lot of white in it seems to be a problem, whereas my camera is in love with the green that I've done. But yeah, maybe I need to shade it. Yeah, that's more representative. So you can make a skin tone really easily. I'll let that dry, and I will hunt down a wash and put it over it just to see how it looks. It looks properly wrong. Great Unclean one in flesh colors. It looks horrible. Like really, really, really disgusting. Right. We got, well, let's try and bring a load of life to him. I imagine that is going to be quite upsetting visually. Sorry, guys. See how this goes. I also want to make a real point here. We are not telling you to throw away your paints from other people. We're not, ours are the only and best paints ever. We're not saying that whatsoever. We're saying these are really good paints. Use them with your other ones. So I'm going to use a shade now, because if I'm painting skin, generally it's going to be something like this. So I've got right blend. Work quite fast. Big brush, large area. Could have made it a bit pinkier, I think. So that's if I'd gone heavier. Probably see that on the inside, but on the rest of him, it's looking pretty good. But be very careful. His hand is extremely warm from the hairdryer now. Take this again, and then I'll use it. So I pushed it around a little bit there with the airbrush. Sorry, the hairdryer. But hopefully you can see that the color still worked pretty well. And that was from me. And like I said, mixing up skin tones is far from a thing I am in practice with. Definitely with our paints, I've just been using all the funky ones a lot in the browns, but not for flesh. Okay, so do some highlights. Been using a size 4 all the time for this, by the way, if people are interested. Thank you, AG. You're most welcome. I'm actually going to grab a little bit of Reichland and put it in with my color, because then I will have greater color coherency. I'll dilute it a bit. That's fine. Hope this looks all right. I feel like I should have just painted green, given how well that went on the camera. and pretty easy to just add in a little bit more of lemon, which we're in love with, for the highlights. Nice, Daniel. Will have been me doing my job well there. Everyone needs a size 4 in their lives. As you can see, you can definitely do detailing even with a really big brush. There we go. Quick hand for you. How are we, like, trying to shade it a bit? That's probably a bit more representative. And then, because any excuse is good enough, I'm just going to put some sangria in the recesses to make it look a bit more alive. And because everyone wants to know about glazing constantly, and our paints do it very well. Got to be careful with it. It's a really vibrant color. No worries, my pleasure. Is there anything else that people would like to see? $2,120. That is very, very cool. Just bringing a little bit of life to his sausagey fingers. Easily done. Cool. We have 1 hour to go. All right then. I think I'll probably call it there. Obviously this turned out really well, and the camera liked this one as well, although it does look great in real life too. Then we did some pretty funky like ocean green blue highlighting. We did some wet blending using the turquoises. We've done a horrible hand, which looks very, very, very strange. Horns came out maybe the best of everything. And this is because we used multiple techniques there. We used glazing, airbrushing, and dry brushing. And it was very fast as well. And we did a loincloth in grey, which the camera didn't like. So yeah. It should have been forbidden. Careful what you wish for, right? Foul. Absolutely horrible. These came out well as well. There's something a bit goldish about these. Yeah, that's what I'm using. It's wonderful. It doesn't get too hot either. It's an outstanding piece of kit. Really love it. Okay then, last round of questions about the Kickstarter. Is there anything that myself or Henry, Colour Paint in the chat, can answer while you have us? Because we should know the answers. We should be qualified. Normal questions are white is wonderful to use. It's really nice to airbrush. Henry's got a video on that. It's fantastic. Our range glazes and layers beautifully. Andy put up a video, which is on the Colour Paint YouTube as well, about that yesterday. I have used our fantastic warm browns to do this cloak, which in person looks banging. It's just so good. It might be the best white out there now. Not that we're in the practice of making crazy claims or anything, but this is special. Yeah, so this is on YouTube, and there's also some flamey wings that I did that are on YouTube as well. People wanted to know about future colours to prove they're in the works. Here's one of them. Okay, can't guarantee when that's going to come out, but there are some colours that already have been decided that will be out in the future, and they'll be beautiful. I'm just going to point my camera at my organizer while I do some organizing and putting away. Designer of this, Chris, is in the chat, over behind under. Right, there you go. So I'll put everything in its place and answer any last questions. Otherwise, that'll be it. For later release, assuming there is one, are you going to release the colours in smaller bundles? Yes, 100%. Each of these, the 6s, will be a bundle in its own right. Tell you the colours names while I'm putting them away. Peach, Jade, Spearmint, Canary, Mustard, Marigold. That was our one that went crazily well with this. Gherkin, my favourite colour, personally. Chocolate, maybe Andy's favourite colour. Peat, beautiful dark cooler brown. One of our two blacks, we've got a matte one and a standard one, being satin like the rest of the range. Claret, second favourite colour for me, or third. Cardinal, this is the crazy coverage, very light red. Less light, more like Mephiston, Pomegranate. Leaf, pretty much as you would guess from looking at it. Duck Egg, favourite of ours. Burnt Orange. And then, where is Midnight? There is Midnight. Midnight was what we started off with and went through to get these colours, believe it or not. So we've put a blue as the base through a warm green, and they've neutraled out in the middle, and that's why we've got this cool to warm transition going on. That's it. Thank you very much for joining. It's been a big one. Thank you for the fantastic questions and all of you that backed. Really appreciate it. Mallard is great. Second from top in the teal row, Spearmint. Spearmint got some use here. Not that my, see if what happens if... No, that bit just doesn't... That bit just doesn't want to show up. It's too funky for camera. Well, thank you for backing, KM. Thank you for your input and help. Henry, thank you for jumping in. Nice to see everyone. All right then, I'm going to shoot. We have 51 minutes to go on the campaign, and there is 2,129 of you. So thank you to each and everyone who's backed or even just shared the word, even if you didn't back or supported or been nice. Really appreciate it. Okay, I'm going to clean this brush actually properly now and go and have something to eat. Thank you very much for joining. I might jump back on Instagram because I feel like I neglected them having gone to YouTube. Have a great evening. Bye, guys.